Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So, one of the first things that Trump did when he took office, you probably will remember, it was to grant those tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans. It was his tax scam. And it wasn't just unpopular with the left. Even his supporters saw through his BS about how it was going to help average Americans, the middle class. And his poll numbers took a hit, and it was across the political spectrum. Everyone with a functioning brain knew that it wasn't going to do what he said, that all it was going to do was to increase the deficit and increase the bank accounts of the already wealthy. And the polling is really clear. By and large, no matter what your political ideology or affiliation, the vast majority of Americans want the rich to be taxed more, not less. We all know they're totally getting away with financial murder because they exploit our ridiculous tax system and all of its loopholes. So they already pay less taxes as a percentage of their income, right? Let me say that for all those idiots out there who go, oh, they pay way more than me. No, as a percentage of their income, they pay less than the average grocery store clerk or a teacher or a fireman or any average American. Yet, as Democrats hold both houses of Congress right now and the presidency, the Senate just voted almost unanimously to extend one of the provisions of his corporate tax giveaway. Nearly every Democrat in the Senate voted with 100% of the Republicans to extend a corporate research and development tax incentive. And there's arguments for it that make sense, but they did this without a single concession from the Republicans. Progressives were trying to get some concessions. They were actually pushing to try to maybe get like a re-up on the child tax credit, which was hugely popular with voters. And it hugely reduced child poverty. But no. And check this out. According to the data, extending the child tax credit for 1 year, which helps low-income Americans, that would cost about the same amount as extending this R&D tax incentive for corporations. So what do? They go all in for their corporate donors. Now, I will say this isn't a 100% done deal, but it's almost 100% going to be done. I mean, they still have to decide whether or not they want to include it in the final legislative package because it's part of an entire package, or it's going to be, but more than likely they're going to keep it and they're going to ask for nothing in return, which is ridiculous. And Democrat Maggie Hassan is leading the charge on this. She and Republican Todd Young have teamed up and they're pushing this through. She was just on MSNBC and they're praising her bipartisanship. Really? This is what you mean by bipartisanship? How come every time someone in the Senate or the House does something quote unquote bipartisan, it only ever favors the wealthy? Why is that? That's not a coincidence. They're aligned with the same people. So here's my question. Is Hassan going to be blamed in November when Democrats lose both the House and the Senate? Of course not. Of course not. The wealthy pundits on MSNBC and CNN, I guarantee you, are going to keep telling their audience that it's because of progressives like me. They're going to keep pushing the misinformation that it's our fault, that it's progressives' fault, that corporate Democrats keep losing elections because we on the far left are too radical, because we want to help struggling Americans. Ooh, we're so scary. We're so horrible. The center left never gets blamed. It's always progressives' fault. So Maggie Hassan can be out there pushing and pushing this unpopular piece of legislation, something that Trump's own voters didn't even like. So it's clearly not popular with right-wing voters. It's not popular with independents, not popular with the Democratic base. But she's going to keep pushing these types of things. And this is just one part. Keep that in mind. This is just one part of his whole tax scam. All these other pieces are going to be coming up because they were set to expire at certain points in time in the future. So if this is any indication of how they're going to handle this, they're going to keep voting on and pushing very unpopular pieces of legislation that were initiated by Donald Trump. And then they're going to lose elections because they're not doing what they promised and they're not helping average Americans. And they have all of the control. And there's a hell of a lot that Biden can do with the stroke of a pen that he doesn't need Congress to pass. And he still refuses to do it. But progressives are going to get blamed. I would bet money on it right now. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.